father, a husband, a nephew, a cousin, an uncle, and most of all, a brother. So we're gonna kick things off with a little song. All of us four goofballs up here. We got Cole Perpich, and Dan Crosby, and Jordan Culpepper, and we're gonna sing a tune with Kellen playing in the back.
Sitting next to me
is, well, how am I supposed to answer that?
So you're Kellen Sight.
Well, I know, I'm Kellen Sight, but I was trying to come up with something that was a little more fun than that because you were funny.
Interview's over. I just did an interview with New Zealand, 107 Galaxy down in New Zealand, and he said that he could feel the gospel roots in my music, not just hear them. And I think that's where that came from, because it's just organic to me to be able to write songs like that because of hearing her and growing up with that stuff. My music is a lot better than hers, but you can't win them all.
You know what? I'm willing to lose that part to you. How does a mom even begin to talk about her firstborn son? How excited was I to see that little one that God entrusted to me, perfect in every way, my sweet Kellen. From the very beginning, Kellen was such an incredible little guy, so happy, so loving, and filled with an enormous personality. If you were having a bad day, he was the one who lifted you up with a huge hug and kiss and an "I love you, Mom." I know that everyone in his life would say that when they were down, that he was the one that lifted them up. Even as a teenager and young man, he never said an angry word. He always was the first to forgive and taught me forgiveness through his kind heart. He gave hugs freely, and they were like no other. As a little boy, his unique style started to flourish. He had to dress up in a costume whenever we'd go to the grocery store or to the mall, whether it be a cowboy in jeans, vest, chaps, cowboy boots, with spurs, a hat, and a gun in his holster. The Red Power Ranger was his favorite, or the best character of all, Darkwing Duck. In elementary school, he started showing his personality and incredible style through his hairstyles. Blue hair, ash blonde hair, cornrows, a perm, and finally dreadlocks. He proudly was just who he was and never apologized for it. His unique style grew with him and was the perfect backdrop for an amazing musician. Kellen, I will so miss you, either phoning me or having me drive over to your house because you had a new song I needed to hear. Every song made me cry instantly. And your hooky choruses, well, they kept me up all night going round and round in my head. The texts I received at 4 a.m, asking if I'd seen a specific shirt that you hadn't seen in a while and you needed it right then because you had to wear it the next morning. Well, those texts drove me crazy, but I'd give anything for one of those texts right now. And that infectious laugh. No one could laugh or make anyone laugh like you. Your impeccable timing with that perfect joke that would absolutely slay the whole room. The laughter won't be the same in our house with you not there. Singing with you and sharing a song on stage every so often was the joy of my life. I could have only dreamed of having half the talent that God blessed you with. Who writes a life-changing song in 15 minutes? Well, you, Kel. Your love of music and how it could change lives filled my heart and made me so unbelievably proud of you. The beauty of your lyrics was that they embedded themselves into people's lives. You actually left a piece of your heart behind in everyone who heard a song or was blessed enough to experience you as a musician and friend. What a beautiful gift God gave you. And your choice to share that gift with others is clearly why God put you on this earth. What a legacy that will live on forever, eternal. God healed people's hearts every night through your words that He planted in you. How does someone leave such a hole in our lives, yet fill us with so much? Strangers would come to you and pour their hearts out to you. They didn't even know you. They felt your loving and accepting spirit and told you their insecurities, deepest secrets, and fears. You listened without distraction and shared your trials and your faith with them. Those conversations wouldn't end until you knew that person would walk away with hope. Kel, you blessed us all so much with your beautiful little girls, Esme and Finley. They remind us every day of you with their quirky Callinisms that have been born into them, that we get to experience constantly. And it doesn't fill this deep hole and loss, but it does allow us to experience you again and again in those moments. And we are so grateful for each and every one of them. We continue to pray for the lives that you touched and for the people that still need to make that life-changing decision to give their lives to God and live for Him like you did. None of us knows what tomorrow brings, and no one's life shows us that more than our Callan's. So today is not a day of closure or a day of saying goodbye. It's a day to celebrate you, Callan, who you were, who you are, and who you will continue to be in our lives. My love for you will only get stronger until I get to hold you in my arms again. And like Esme says, every time she makes a wish on a star, blows on a dandelion, or eyelash or feather, come back soon, Jesus, and take us to heaven so we can live with Daddy again.
Callan Grant Daniel Sipe was born to Connie and I, his proud parents, on June 20th, 1988. We had our hearts set on the name Callan, so for good measure, I wore my Callan Winslow jersey in the delivery room. Callan grew up a happy child, especially once his little buddy brother and partner in most crimes, Iggy, came along. As little boys, they traveled a lot with us on Mom's tours, and with their grandparents, enjoyed many resort destinations, the odd luxury cruise, and even the outdoors. Once he started school, he really began to develop his unique personality and pursued various activities and sports until he found and began to develop his skills at skateboarding. For him, it wasn't just the satisfaction of mastering the nollie, frontside fakie, or rail slide. No, it was the look, the dress, that laid-back confidence and counter-cultural attitude that made skaters so cool. He was actually quite good at it, so he discussed building a ramp and half-pipe. No, not in the yard, but in the garage. Our house became the neighborhood gathering place, and Callan was fine with that. As the culture grew on him, so did his unique style. I think the cornrows might have been his best look. Skateboarding was his first love, but after high school, it was music that became his true passion. Ironically, he failed guitar in grade 11, but determined and driven, he practiced hard, wrote and recorded a variety of musical styles that included rock, thrash metal, even some hip-hop. But when Callan found the blues, or maybe the blues found him, he began to craft his own unique, soulful, folky, bluesy vibe. He wrote and communicated what he felt. No holds barred. And he was recognized and rewarded for it. Callan lived unapologetically and authentically as himself. And as much as that drove us crazy, it was something to be admired. And what I appreciated most was that Callan understood that this life was about relationships. I first really began to see these traits in him when I pulled him from his skater-turned-singer-songwriter lifestyle and took him on a missions trip to Guatemala. It rocked his world to experience this type of poverty and to realize how the majority of the world really lived. I was impressed by his heart of compassion and openness to engage, especially with the children. He was like a living mountain to them, a playground. It was something I know he never forgot, and I know how deeply it impacted him. In relationship with others, Callan made everyone feel known. He really listened, made one feel valued and of worth. Callan made people feel loved by showing appreciation, caring for others, supporting them, building them up. And Callan made people feel like they belonged, that they were connected and a part of something bigger than themselves. He offered people community. His home became the gathering place, and I'm sure it was frustrating for Amy at times, but it was a safe place for all. Amy. It wasn't long after that journey to find himself his passion in genre and music, that he found a relationship with the love of his life, his soulmate, Amy, the mother of his girls. Oh, how he loved. And they will carry on his legacy. We see those qualities in them every day. But the most important relationship of all was his personal relationship with Jesus. Yeah, like the rest of us, he wrestled with that throughout his life. But as Pastor Josh will touch on later in this service, his relationship was unique. It had profound depth, meaning, and he shared it freely in his songs and in conversations with those who would listen. We had opportunity to talk about these things. The summer before last, Kellen was on tour across Western Canada, and the tour ended abruptly in Winnipeg. I remember the call. Dad, I had no idea this country was so big. There's no way I can drive back on my own. I told him he needed to take a day and at least get to Regina, and that I'd fly in and I'd be there for him. We drove back together from there. I'm so thankful we had that time together. And grateful for the times he asked me to mix front of house at his shows so I could share in his music, trusting me to get that mix to sound just right. Today, I wear his brand tattooed on my arm. The lyrics from his song read, "In these songs is where I belong. They take me home every time they're on." And I know on that day when my song is played and I'm ushered from this world, that he'll be there waiting for me to welcome me home. I'll see you soon, Kel. I love you, son.
That was just my cue there. Well, hello, folks. My name is Ben. Kellen was my best friend. We didn't have a long friendship, but in the time that I knew him, he became someone that I loved very deeply. He invited me on tour in spring of 2020, and that's sort of where the roots of our friendship really set. He got me excited about being a musician and an artist and a songwriter again. And when we came back from that trip across the country, or across BC and Alberta, he was a mainstay in my life right up until the end when he left us. You're going to hear from a bunch of his friends, and they're all going to tell you the same thing. He was their best friend, because he was. This is his song, Why Negro. Such a wide room, such a story told, to find such a lover's soul, watch another chapter unfold. Such a blind light on such a cold, dark night. It's funny. so outside. It means so much to me. Take me running, take me still, take me healthy, take me ill, keep me safe all through the night. Wake me up when the feeling's right. Take me running, take me still, take me healthy, take me ill, keep me safe all through the night. Wake me up when the feeling's right. Pictures and scriptures list. We said to forget the past. It's the heartache that cuts like glass, and scars into the bone. Take me running, take me still, take me healthy, take me ill, keep me safe all through the night. Wake me up when the feeling's right. Keep me healthy, take me ill, take me running, take me still, keep me safe all through the night. Wake me up when the feeling's right. Take me healthy, take me ill, take me running, take me still, keep me safe all through the night. Wake me up when the feeling's right. Let it come.
Kel and I are typical brothers. One day, best of friends, the next day rolling around on the floor, punching each other in the face, having mom dive into the pile to break things up. This didn't happen just as kids, but also as adults. But along with the teasing, the bugging, and the fights, there was also much more laughter, love, and memories. Let's start when we were kids. As a duo, me and Kel would organize various leagues, clubs, and special events around our block. First was the Backyard Wrestling League, or as we called it, the BYW. With their backyard trampoline being the ring, all the boys from around the block would gather for the wrestling matches. Each of us had our own intro song, wrestling name, and outfit. Kellen, being the commissioner, would always script it out that he'd win the championship belt. Me being the younger brother, I was always the one getting choke slammed out of the treehouse for my own insult. Then there was the skateboard competitions. Somehow Kellen convinced my parents to build a mini half-pipe in our garage. This is where we hosted the events. With a small buy-in, usually of about 15 to 20 bucks, each competitor would enter the competition. Kellen, being the best skater on the block, would always walk away with the cash grand prize. If you knew Kellen well, you knew that he knew how to hustle. Then there was the skateboard videos. Using my dad's video camera, Kel and I would film each other skateboarding on a daily basis. I wasn't very good at skateboarding, so I was usually Kel's designated camera guy, hearing it from him if I didn't catch the right angles. We even did our own version of the show Jackass, where I found myself being upgraded from designated camera guy to lead stunt guy. Kel made sure that the stunts that would cause the most harm were left for me, the younger brother. Then there was the skate shop. Kel and I opened up a skate shop next to the half-pipe in the garage. We'd have kids around the block buying used skateboard parks and paying us to make upgrades on their new decks. Kel also created the Alliance skateboard brand. Everybody on the block wanted to get sponsored and be a part of the Alliance. Kellen even started to make shirts, hoodies, and he'd be selling them to kids on the block. Even if you were sponsored, you'd have to pay for your shirt. Then there was the basketball tournaments. Once Kellen got his cornrows, Kellen converted himself into Kellen Iverside, a knockoff of his favorite basketball player at the time, Allen Iverson. Kellen and our neighbor, Mike Fuller, towered over all the young kids and would easily take the championship of the tournament. They'd also set the hoop at a height that only they could dunk at, giving them the upper hand. When I was 17, I moved away out of town to play hockey. I was gone for most of the year, but every time I'd come back into town, Kellen would grab a group of friends to come watch my games. I remember as I'd sit on the bus on the drive into town, I'd be getting texts from Kellen the entire time, begging me to fight that night. Him and his friends would take over a section, and all game would be yelling at me. And I remember they'd always just yell, "Bother him, Egg, bother him!" And they'd just keep yelling that until I got so sick and tired of hearing it that I'd just drop my gloves, grab the closest guy next to me, and start wailing away. After the games, Kellen would be waiting outside with a big smile on his face. Come up to me, give me a big hug, and tell me how proud he is of me. I remember at the end of each season, I was so excited to come home and get to spend the next 3 months with my big brother. I remember one of the first nights I got back. After my first season away from home, Kellen took me out for dinner and a movie. Our night was soon spoiled by somebody emptying a can of mace into the ventilation system at the movie theater. The mace got trapped in Kellen's beard, and within minutes, Kellen couldn't see and was throwing up everywhere. Amongst the bedlam, I pulled my shirt over my face, grabbed Kellen by his collar, and dragged him outside the theater. Stuff like this always happened to me and Kel. There was a little bit of a gap in our lives that Kel and I didn't have a lot in common. Kel was working and I was living in another city, playing hockey, and was gone most of the year. But as we got older, Kel and I really connected through music. We had many phases of music and bands that we went through together. We'll forget about the heavy metal band. But once Kel found his bluesy, country, folky tune, I was astonished how talented he was and was so proud of the singer-songwriter he became. We all know how hard it is to make any music, but when I heard Kel play with his band for the first time, my jaw hit the floor. I had no doubts that Kel would make a career of this. I had never seen him pour his heart and soul into something as much as he did with music. His music and lyrics just had a way of drawing you in, and the meaning behind his songs were something that resonated deep within his soul. Some of my greatest memories and times with Kel were in our parents' basement, where we'd stay up till 4 a.m. jamming with friends. Whether you played an instrument or just wanted to come, listen, and sing, Kel's energy, humor, and loving spirit was something everyone just wanted to be around, and he always had the door open for anyone. Whenever I had time off hockey, there was nothing more I looked forward to than those nights of music, friends, and of course the beers. As Kel and I got married, had our own families, and our own careers, those nights became fewer and fewer for us. And we began to drift apart a bit with our busy lives. The summer before we lost Kel, our relationship was resparked as I had a change in work and allowed me to head to Chilliwack almost every weekend. We spent our time together jamming again, throwing knives at targets, listened to all the new songs Kel was working on, and best of all, watching our little ones play together. I'm so thankful that we had the opportunity to spend that time together, and I'll cherish those memories and the time we had forever. Kel and I were very different individuals, Many found it hard to believe that we were even related sometimes. We had different hobbies, different interests, different career paths, but music was the one thing that kept bringing us closer and closer together and helped us build a strong relationship. Kellen used his music as a platform to do this exact thing. Whether it was a charity event, a community event, a jam in the basement with friends, or a new album he was working on, Kellen's intent was to draw people together, to share their love for music, to spend time and create memories with good people. There's 4 things I learned from Kel that I try to do each day in his memory. 1, do what you love. Don't settle for what makes you the most money or for what people tell you you should do. Do what you love and what makes you happy. That's what Kel did. 2, leave your door open. Kel made himself available to anyone, whether it was for a friendly conversation, a heart-to-heart, someone needed a place to stay, or a deep talk about faith. Kellen always had his door and ears open, and he was never afraid or uncomfortable to have the hard conversations. I was always a lot more shy and quieter than Kel, but he always pushed me to come out of my shell and to leave my door open. 3, be accepting. Kellen had many friends from all over the place. He loved meeting new people and hearing their stories. No matter where you were from, what you did, what you were going through, Kellen treated you like family. And 4, grow a beard. As Kel always said, everything's better with a beard. Kel, every moment of every day, you weigh heavy on my heart. I miss you. I miss my big brother. But knowing you're a man of God, I know I'll see you again. And I can't wait to share more jokes and laughter with you one day. Keep stopping by in my dreams, because those mornings I wake up, those days are the easiest. I love you.
I met you at a very low period of my life. You were this bright, shining light, and you came in and you swept me off my feet. I remember Allie said that you stole my heart and made me smile like the sun. I never realized how lonely I was until there was you. And suddenly there was this handsome man with these beautiful, dreamy eyes, these incredibly kind eyes. A good, honest heart that truly cared and worried for others. The funniest person I have ever met. There was always a funny moment, even in difficult times. You made me laugh so easily, and you always played up a situation to feed my enjoyment of your ridiculousness. Your wonderfully warm laugh, so contagious and utterly enjoyable to hear. Even if I didn't understand the joke or even know why you were laughing, I'd always start laughing too. You had this undeniably magnetic energy. Everyone just wanted to be around you. I fell in love with you so easily. You loved so deeply, and you also hurt deeply. You often hid your pain with humor. Through the hurt, I've never met anyone who was so forgiving of others. Even when someone mistreated you, you still would try. And if they reached out, you would forgive just like that. And there was music. There was always music. I admired your songwriting and your vocal talent. You always amazed me, every single time. I was taken by your soothing and healing voice. Your wonderfully beautiful voice. Music was so much a part of you in your life. There was hardly a time that you didn't turn to music. And I was your biggest fan. We had so much fun going to music festivals together. I'll never forget the day you proposed to me at the Roots and Blues Festival. Somehow you got Shaky Graves to share a Timbit with you and to give a shout out to us during his performance. One of my favorite memories is driving in the car with you. It was always after chaos and stress with getting ready or dealing with the kids. And you would turn on the music, and I would reach over to you and hold your hand, and we would sing along together the whole drive. And then there was us. There was love. A love like I had never known. You had this beautiful way of making people feel important. I have never felt so loved in my entire life. I loved coming home from work and hearing you say, "It's my love," or "my sweetie." You were just so silly, but it was so very special. And I love you, deeply and completely. You were my home, my safe place, my husband. I would have followed you anywhere. I just wanted you to be happy. We built a wonderfully messy life together. It wasn't perfect, and at times it was hard, but it was ours, and I truly loved it. I miss you. I miss it all, everything. You got to chase your dreams and live the life you loved. And I was so happy for you, and so, so proud. I believed in you and in your music so much. I loved watching you create. Watching and feeling your passion come together in a song, in a room, on a stage. The way you influenced and helped other artists is so rare. You wanted to uplift people and watch them grow and be true to themselves. I wish I could sit next to you right now and just listen to your newest song come to life. I got to live my dream too. I became a wife and a mom. I got to watch the man I love become a father. I experienced and witnessed a great love unfold. The love you have for your girls is pure and the most beautiful thing. Everyone knew how much you loved them, and I loved the way you talked about them and me. They are so much like you. Esme is silly and fun, clever, and she loves music. Watching you sing with her and ignite her passion for music is one of my favorite memories. Finley also loves music. She is always singing. She has your humor and shares your giving and deep expressions of love and emotion. You gave me what I always wanted: a family, purpose, value, and love. Real, true, and honest love. How lucky I am to have shared this time with you. You are the love of my life, and always will be. You saved me not only from a truly lonely life, but most importantly from a life without God, a life without hope. Our in-depth talks and your consistent love and trust in God brought me to his house. And in his house, I met Jesus. And I am saved. I have hope and the knowledge that you are in heaven waiting for us. And I know we will be together again. One fine day, we will all be together.
Kellen and I, we shared a soul. And I miss you so much. And I also miss the parts of myself that went with it. I don't have much to say for this afternoon. And, I think I talk better when I sing anyway. So this is Down by Kellen Sipe. My sins away. Hold on a little longer, 'cause right now I feel betrayed. I've been down, so down, down. I've been down, so down, I've been down. Take me to that chapel. I need to hear that good Lord sing. Be the sun now on my skin. Feel me stay. Down. I've been down, so down, I've been down. I need some sort of comfort to get me through this day. I need some sort of lyric to help me fill this page. Who's gonna help us sing? I've been down, so down, I've been down. I've been down, so down, I've been down. I've been down, so down, I've been
Today, a few guys might be Daddy's friends. Some of you might cry because we're doing this for celebration, and all of us are going to say something about. You guys don't have to do it, but yeah, we're just going to do it. I love when Daddy actually went and lay out in my old house with my bike outside in the backyard. It wasn't really big, it was terrible small. But I love when he actually let my bike in the house riding it. When we almost had Dolly, when we almost had the dog. And then I love when he let me get on the stage and do the Kumano, and a long time ago he let me go on the stage and sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. I was kind of embarrassed, but I did. I love when Daddy set up the tent in the next morning because I'd hurt my arm, I was inside. So the next morning he didn't take down the scent, so my mom made me the tortillas, and me and Daddy sit down, and Finny and Mommy were playing in the playground with her, because Finny might be mad, and that Mommy's not playing, and I feed Daddy a tortilla, but she said, no thanks, and yeah, I eat that, Mom. That's it. I miss Daddy, and I miss his song. I miss his hugs, and I miss his kisses, and I miss his snuggles. And I miss Daddy again. I love you, Daddy.
One more down, five of us, one.
beautiful video. So again, my name is Josh, and Kellen was my best friend. So myself, my beautiful wife Emma, and our crazy, energetic son Luca have had the amazing privilege of knowing Kellen over the years. First time I met Kellen, I know I can speak on behalf of my wife, and probably many of you here, if not all of you. First time I met Kellen, the man nearly squeezed all the air out of my lungs with his great big bear hug. I gasped for air once, his grip eased just a little bit. Then I was able to state who I actually was. I didn't get a chance to even tell my name, and Kellen already had his great big arms around me. Since that day, Kellen and I grew together as musicians and brothers. I got to gain a better understanding on who he was as a person, and not just a musician that's just trying to keep the dream alive. It was much more than that. I discovered a brother who had a very unique journey in life, in which he chose to walk through every single day with the amazing love and support of his mom and dad, Connie and Grant, his brother Lyndon, and his wife Amy and his 2 daughters. But deep down inside, I knew that there was something else, something different about Kellen that always kept the wheels spinning for that great big man. And I'll tell you what that was in a minute. Our home wasn't always will be Kellen's halfway point during his tours throughout the province. We would purposely book shows in our neck of the woods that would relate to Kellen being with us for 3 to 5 days, always bringing new people in with him. I would always have to text him and say, okay, now who's the new person coming into our house? Just so we can be ready. Because every time Kellen showed up, it was always a level higher. Whoever he brought, it was always a party. Sure, there was lots of music played, lots of new faces met, lots of laughs, of course, lots of beer. And we would even form a quartet at a local McDonald's for the staff who worked there at 2 o'clock in the morning. And with all that fun and all the goofy times we've had, or that I've been able to archive, there was more highlighted events that happened. The biggest highlighted event was the first time that Kellen ever stepped foot in Castlegar soil. The man got baptized. Sure, there wasn't a massive audience to witness that massive confession of faith. Regardless, though, he took that step. Later on that day, we all celebrated by shooting guns and blowing stuff up as we do in the Kootenays. Kellen has left a massive footprint in Castlegar and in Nelson. The news of his passing has rocked our city, our local pubs and venues where he played, and even including our church. Months went on, music was created, miles were put on in touring and performing music and making new friends. Clearly, as all of you are here. But one of the last few times Kellen stayed with us, we had a pretty big conversation about faith. What did it look like? How did it relate to our music? How did it correspond with how conversations were had after shows and meeting so many new people, so on and so forth? Kellen said something very interesting to me that night, that very late night on our porch. And this is what he said. Why does the world make it seem so complicated to understand who Jesus is and who he really is? And he went on saying, for me, I've always leaned on the term, come as you are. And at that point, I knew that that was the reason why Kellen always continued to have that drive. He didn't care what people thought of him. He had a mission that he knew was from God, and that's what he needed to do. Jesus kept that man going. Helped him keep the dream alive because he had a spiritual father to lean on, that he trusted with his whole heart, that he trusted with his plan, but most of all, when all else was exhausted, continued to bestow his hope in, and that was in Christ. Come as you are, he said to me. That's what it's all about. There isn't a fancy red carpet. There isn't an agenda to follow in order to see who this Jesus guy really is. And I know that personally because of many, many reasons in my life. But one of those reasons that are highlighted is because Kellen really proved it to me. It's still a hard reality for my family to come to terms with Kellen's passing, as it is for all of you. It will be for some time. But there's still plenty of joy to be had. Even in this time where, there's a little bit of closure for us, but most of all, a celebration and coming togetherness, as he would say. Psalm 126:2 says, that our mouth was filled with laughter and our tongues with shouts of joy. And then they said amongst the nations, the Lord has done great things for us. And then it goes on saying, those who sow in tears shall reap with shouts of joy. Because there's still so much joy to be had, you guys. So much joy. Kellen would want that. And there's still hope in this world as well. Jeremiah 29:11 says, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans for peace and not evil, and to give you a future and a hope. But I want to leave you with this, because this is very short and sweet. A word that Kellen would lean on from time to time again, that I know will resonate with at least one person in this room. Jesus says in John 13, what I am doing you do not understand right now, but afterward you will understand. So I've been asked to play one of Kellen's songs off his newest album this afternoon. Or at least try to. The last time my family and I saw Kellen was on September 6th, 2020, and that was our wedding day. Kellen being one of my groomsmen, which was of course a riot. My wife and I also asked him to play one of his songs for our first dance. So Kellen chose to sing his song, Angels Alive. So I'm going to attempt to play that for you guys today. was asked really quickly just to give a bit of a backstory of the next track that we'll listen to. Then you guys don't have to maybe stumble over my words again. In 2017, Kellen and I were trapped indoors for the most part of his tour due to the ongoing wildfires happening in our area. We were cooped up, spent up, and getting tired of whooping each other's butts in foosball. But for the most part, we were getting pretty low on beer. So we decided to write a song together to be a little more constructive with our time. Kellen was really struggling at the time, missing his family. And that day, he was telling me how he gets into these states when he's on the road, and how quickly his being would begin to travel down a dark road after being away from home for some time, being away from Amy and the kids. So I suggested that we put it on paper. So I suggested a melody, and I typed down here that we collaborated on lyrics, but really I didn't really collaborate that much in that aspect. Because I just got to sit there and witness this legendary man just being in awe watching him spit out these lyrics. Like as if they're nothing, like he's had them planned to be on paper for years. And I was just mesmerized and recognizing he was in such a vulnerable state, being away for being away for such a long time on the road away from his family. And exactly in a matter of minutes, he had a song that we would reflect on from time to time again, realizing that it's all about the music and keeping those we love closest to us, closest to our hearts. So without further ado, here's a live video of Kellen playing the song Longevity. Thank you guys and God bless.
Take me home, so I know I can sleep another night on the road through the snow. I won't make it there tonight. Kiss my loved ones good night. And there's nothing dancing at the end of this glass. And I stopped asking questions because I drank them too fast. And this city's on fire, and it's covered in ash. And some just hide up another and wait for this moment to pass. And I feel like a mess, but I'm doing just fine. But I won't make it home to kiss my loved ones good night. And no one said it was easy. my broken soul. I go where the streets of pain will go. And will heal my broken soul. I wanna go where the streets of pain will go. And I wanna heal my broken soul.
My name's James McFadden, and the family has graciously asked me to stand here today and close this service in prayer. I'm Josh's pastor, and I've had a few incredible opportunities to know and meet Kellen during the times that he's come through and stayed in our home, stayed in our camper, ruined my beds, snored so loudly, woke my kids up at night. What a fella. Before we close in prayer, I like to do something with all of you. I want you to stand up for a minute. Take a moment and take a look around. Make eye contact with somebody. Make it awkward. Every one of you is here today because of one guy. Every one of you is here today because you have been impressed upon by the life of Kellen. He's been lent to you, shared with you, given to you as a gift by his wife, by his family, and by his Heavenly Father. It's amazing to know that a single person, one person out of the 8 billion that are here on this ball of dirt, one person can have such an impact on the lives of individuals that it causes them to gather. Reflect. You're here today because of one person. You're here today to remember. You're here today to give thanks. And what we're remembering and giving thanks for is life and legacy. Kellen had a life, and he certainly has left a legacy. But in the little bit that I had an opportunity to know him, the impression I got is he would love everybody to be able to leave a legacy. He was that kind of guy to encourage that kind of life, to do a little bit more than what was normal. When you got a chance to look around the room, you made eye contact for that awkward moment with another person who's also been affected by the legacy of one. I was affected by the legacy of one. And I think we have to ask ourselves the question as we close for the day during this time of remembrance and celebration, are we willing to carry on what Kellen left behind by way of leaving legacy well? I think the answer to that is yes. And the strength to do that comes from Jesus. And if you don't know who that is, ask somebody, because there's probably half of you in this room who might have an idea who that may be. The other half, well, your adventure is just starting once you start to explore. And Kellen was the type of guy who definitely explored well. There's one thing we've learned, it's that no one is promised tomorrow. So what are we going to do with our todays? I say today we have an option to live freely, live lightly, and choose to be in awe of God and His incredible creation that He has given us as a gift to inspire wonder, to inspire creativity, to inspire more. Kellen inspired more. And I find that pretty amazing. So before we close in prayer, I want to do something with you today that the family gave me an opportunity to do with them last night. And that's to pause for a moment and make the choice to forgive as freely as Kellen always chose to forgive. Forgive the hurts. Forgive the pains. Forgive the misunderstandings. And make a choice to live freely and lightly with those that are around you. Let's close our eyes and do that for just a moment. Heavenly Father, I thank you so much for the time that we've had to gather today to remember and to celebrate Kellen's life. I thank you that through this man we saw an example of what it was to embrace what is immediately in front of us and to love well wherever we go. I also thank you that through this man, we truly got to see what it looked like to come as you are. And God, I thank you that you meet us where we're at and you never leave us where you found us. Lord, as folks are wrestling and struggling and trying to figure out what tomorrow might look like, I ask God that you grant them peace today. Give them solace, time of rest, an opportunity to have those burdens lifted and souls to be restored. I pray a special prayer blessing over Amy and the kids as they carry on and remember and share in the legacy of husband and dad. Be with Grant and Connie as they fondly and often remember their son. Lyndon as he continues to wake up to memories of his brother. We thank you, Lord, that in those challenging moments, you grant us your peace that surpasses our circumstances. And it's on that peace that we anchor to today. We thank you so much for the time that we've had together to remember and to celebrate, and we thank you so much, Lord, that you're caring well for Kellen in your mighty arms, just as he was so good at caring for others in his. In your holy name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Oh, whose idea was it to have me get up and say something after all that? You may be seated. I'm just going to do a little bit of housekeeping things here. We just wanted to stand before you as a family. And thank you for participating today in this celebration. There's just so many of you to thank. I can't go through them all. There's just a few people that I just want to express our gratitude to for going beyond the call of duty. First of all, to Teresa and Art and the staff here at Chilliwack Alliance. Thank you for being the church to us today. And for Amber Lee and the staff at Yarrow Alliance for the work that you did behind the scenes for us. We appreciate that. Melanie for sharing that video content and for capturing today on camera as well. Sherry and Brandon for your design work and webpage work. We appreciate that. And Jordan Culpepper, just for your artistry and creativity of just piecing it all together and making it happen today. We pulled it off. So thanks, Jordan. And Jordan for putting up with our very limited Google Slides skills. So thank you. And to family, cousins, friends who've assisted in various ways, thank you. And pastors Josh and James for just tying it all together so beautifully. God bless you guys. In Africa, there's a saying, it takes a village to raise a child. And here it's going to take a village to raise a family. And you are that village, that community. And so we just really call on you to be there for us, to be there for Amy and the family as she and all of us instruct Ezzy and Finn to grow up to be godly, confident young women, to uphold Amy. Yeah, they seem pretty confident today, don't they? To uphold Amy, the girls, Connie and I, Iggy or Lyndon and Bree, uphold us in your prayers as we try to journey forward. And do us a favor today, please sign the guest book that's at the back. Take a button, wear it in honor and pride of Kellen. And if you're not familiar with his music, there's CDs back there as well. We welcome you to take one of those. And this is tough to say, because we would love to greet each and every one of you in the foyer, which we will. However, we want to respect and honor the practices of the church and the recommendations of the local health authority. So I'm going to just request that as we exit, we keep our space, keep our distance, and maybe let's try and refrain from hugging, just to respect that, as I said, the practices of the church. There's nothing more that we'd like to just embrace you and share some of the load of this grief with you. But just a touch on the arm or a hand on our shoulder will mean the same to us. And because of restrictions, we can't have a reception and food service here. However, our good friends at Town Hall in Sardis have invited us to an after-gathering where they'll play Kellen's music, some of his favorite tunes, serve his favorite pub fare, and libations. So if you can, we would love to have you join us there immediately following, which is pretty much now. Right? Good? Thank you again. Go in peace.
May you always do for others, and never
The only thing that makes sense.